All right, welcome to lesson 73, H Radio 223 part-timers. We are starting a new segment, an all new arc within the studying of your radio broadcasting second year. We're nearly at the end, and I know I've mentioned that before, but we're nearly at the end. Anytime, part one of six. This is from Valerie Geller's book, Beyond Powerful Radio, and it's from chapter 31, Sales and Commercials, 389, page 389 to 424. So quite a lot to cover. And you can see that it's also a lengthy segment, but we're going to have a split over six segments, six lessons here to understand this. So this lesson really is this the highlight of this is actually how to approach somebody as a potential client. How do we look at and how do we change our mindsets and our approach to selling for on-air time, as well as obviously the digital side of things. We have had a quick look at, just kind of the cost of digital marketing in previous lessons, and it was quote unquote quite shocking because those were high prices for a couple of posts across different social mediums, averaging at around about, let's say about 5,500 rand. Um, and I would say what is the highest? The highest I think it was 7.5, maybe a little bit more, right? Okay, but we have to make money. The station makes money. The predominant amount of revenue that a station makes is through sales and commercials, and any again type of onset media that comes as a ripple effect. So as I said, they are brand ambassadors. They are again those that also fall under social media. So you can be a brand ambassador and go and attend events and obviously wear clothing and whatever it may be, right? But then also that does form part of an added value um, to a package, that you might actually sell. Find the right presenter, as we said before in the previous lessons, and then have them do what they do best, right? Okay, so let's start with a lesson here. What's at the end of the lesson? What should we be able to understand? Well, we want to learn the procedures and methods involved in radio donation sales and donation solicitation, right? So, in other words, how do we gather any charitable funds, especially as a community station, and what is considered non-profit, right? I mean the commercial, no, not the commercial, community stations, right? Are considered quote unquote non-profit or NGOs, whatever it is. But non-profit organizations, they do make their money, obviously, otherwise they couldn't keep their doors open. But because it is community-based, they are allowed to accept charitable funds from the community itself, the community of listeners and the community that they do service, right? And anyway, we'll get into some more of that. Identify the qualities of effective radio commercial production, right? Which we have started to touch on in the previous lesson. Describe the process of radio sales. Explain the relationship of the sales program and programming department when they do partner up on a specific activation, right? So, an understanding of the revenue side of the industry will make you more valuable as an asset to that radio station. We have various phases that we consider broadcasters to go through where there's this again it was no it'll be shown in your next year's lessons or your learning where there are different hierarchies, right, in terms of the yes, maybe the amount of experience, but it is what you do with the experience and how involved you are with the station. And when we are at a advanced, right, so maybe at the top tier of that evolution of a broadcaster, they are highly involved with the business side of the radio station itself. They are working with clients directly. And so it is very important for you. I mean, you are studying at the end of the day, you're aiming to study up to the point of managing radio, right? Management within the radio space. And so you definitely need to understand the sales and commercial aspects of this, right? So spots are a break in the programming instead of an integral part of the on-air package, right? It is a break. That's what it's called, an ad break. So we're going to take a bit of a break from the programming that has been obviously currently airing, and we'll go to a spot break, right? So play a couple of ads and then come back to the programming wherever that may be set up in our clock. But a poorly done or boring commercial can be as much a tune out factor as a bad programming decision. So bad presenter, bad music, bad content, whatever it is. Boring commercials need to be captivating, and that's just something that I think everyone knows, and you know that as well. So when you watch something on TV, when you see something on a billboard, when you see something on social media, like what makes you click a little bit further and actually commit to wanting to know, because they've obviously done this in an enticing way. It's kind of irritating. I do understand. Saying for me personally, I get quite irritated with the ads only because they hardly ever say enough, right? More so actually just posts that are clickbait, right? Anyway, let's get on the right track here. So with obviously radio being a passive medium, and again, um, uh, spot breaks are considered in general a tune out factor. It's a good reason to maybe just want to not listen at that particular moment because again, heavy spot breaks. So in other words, a spot break that's quite lengthy. Maybe 4 minutes of ads. It's a bit too much. Commercial stations do, as I said, up to about 5 minutes, which is not great at all. But busy periods like actually right now, September, October, are when there's a very high rise of advertising that and revenue that comes in at this time. Specifically, well, I mean, it could be for many reasons. It could be, I mean, a change of, I'd say, season, spring, kind of swing in summer, makes people, I suppose, they're spending quite a lot more money. They're out. I mean, they're active more so than winter. And also, but more importantly, this is what I believe, it's coming to a point where you want to make sure that people are aware and they are connecting and relating and buying from your brand, your product, whatever is service, because Christmas time and festive time is coming around where people spend a lot of money, right? Um, and so you want to be able to grab their attention. It's a great time, again, to be putting subliminal messages in their heads. Right. Okay. And also, again, I think about it. So if you start seeing things right now, I mean, we've got Black Friday coming up, which is basically the total span of November. Many different reasons, right? Okay, that could be the why it is that consistently throughout the decades, or especially the past two, we see a very high spike in commercial investment in a radio station, right, from our advertisers. Okay, if a commercial is done right and creates powerful radio, it'll keep listeners engaged, right? So keep it simple. Remember the rules of the previous one, of just in terms of we did a bit of the semantics, like I say, the donuts and the liners, etc. But again, the keep it simple, stupid is I mean, this is a holistic application that we can use throughout what we do on within the radio space and the medium. So turn it up, creative. Be effective, powerful commercials are really important. Right, know exactly what the emotion is that you're trying to evoke, or try to evoke, to connect to, right, and answer that particular need for that particular client. Okay, that potential client that's going to come in. So again, normally, let's say we constantly hear adverts about cars, and new cars that are coming out, or there's a new dealership that opens up, or there are services that you can get, like, because the car is something that we all need, right? Okay, and I know that that plenty of people use public transport, but and plenty of people need a car, right? Even more so, and they need it quite. I said quite consistently. When I say consistently, but even though a car can last you. I mean, mine's now 7.5 years old, still going fine. I'm gonna knock on wood, touch wood, knock on wood. I don't want anything bad to happen. So my point is that it doesn't matter about my 7 year period. You understand? Like, just in terms of the purchasing, right? Everybody, like, there are so many people looking for cars every single day, right? Because their timeline is and has come to an end. with their current automobile. It could be people that are buying cars for the first time. They're buying from a second-hand dealership. They are looking to trade their cars, especially the high-end cars, the BMs, the obviously the high-end Hondas, etc., and the Mercedes, etc., and whatever it may be, the Volvos. Those are often, I mean, the client behavior is that they will use the car for about 4 years during quote unquote the pay period, and when it's done, they'll just trade it in for a brand new car, right? So we have many different reasons. Kids buying their parents' cars. Um, again, husbands and wives buying each other cars, like they're buying their kids' cars because they need to get to campus or whatever it may be. And also, maybe your car was written off. We have accidents every single day, unfortunately. And the thing is that, then we have to go and buy a car. So there's many reasons just to buy a car. Never mind now the subservient or subsequent services that come with it, like, again, let's say getting insurance for the car or, like, let's say servicing the car, making sure that you have tires for the car, like, that's something. And let's say, um, a battery for the car. Whatever it may, like those things are quite generic, essential stuff that people always and have to, and everybody is going to spend money on. So, so we look, let's say, as a salesperson, I'm going to look at a bunch of reasons why cars in general are going to be essential. They're going to be an awareness trigger for my listener, right? Okay, and that was just one little aspect of their lifestyle that I had looked at now. And so again, I can approach any one of these different clients or these providers, and then I can go. But we can look at other things as well. Okay, so for example, cell phones, right, is a good one. Food, obviously, toiletries, another one. Um, Banking is another one. So I'm trying to look at my life currently. Fitness, for example. We can also look at, let's say, like a retirements. I'm not going to retire anytime soon, I wish. Anyway, but retirements, investments, not so much investments, I don't think so. But yeah, these are the things, right? Okay, that we can look at for easy like easy hot leads, right? So a hot lead, for example, is when someone recommends you to another person, so someone that has already bought from you and has obviously got faith within the station and your capabilities and your competencies, whatever it is, and they will say, "Okay, cool. I have like I've got other people, friends of mine that are maybe within the same kind of sect of service, like service industry that I'm busy with, and I will recommend your services, your radio station to them." So that's a hot lead, right? Another hot lead is when someone comes to you. They come to you to the station and say, "I would like and I am interested in, let's say, running a commercial or buying airtime or whatever it is, right? So in other words, versus a cold lead is when you start from scratch. When you start from scratch, you, let's say, will target certain people. You will write up emails, introductory emails. You'll do, like commercial strategies, and you will approach them cold, right? Okay, so you have no help, quote unquote, to get them to land that particular contract, whatever it may be, right? So, so just to note that salespeople listen to the spots during commercial breaks. That's their work, and it's important to them, right? So constantly, obviously, growing, constantly knowing that there are options to change, improve, and obviously succeed on, right? Sales is from Mars, and programming is from Venus to indicate that yes, we are very different, and because that's two different departments for a reason, right? The thinking is very different, obviously, because we have different objectives and different goals, that we are trying to achieve. But one cannot work without the other because, again, you're selling airtime, right? And the program department has to deliver on those, obviously, those promises and those sales activations, etc., and those brands, products, whatever it may be, right? Okay. Many times again, we've seen the hybrid of obviously having to interview maybe like a CEO or whatever, a PR manager, whatever it is that comes from a company, someone that represents, let's say, a certain initiative that'll be tied into the package bundle that we do sell on air, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. The thing is that both have to they work within synergy, right? Okay, with one another. So it's a symbiotic relationship. So symbiotic means both people will, if they, there's a relationship with both parties are going to benefit, but they do something for each other by their very existence and share this relationship, right? As I'm sure you understand, there's been many symbiotic relationships. As well as that, I think the most famous one, or the one I keep thinking of, is about the sharks. And then there's that little, is it that those little fishies that lock into the shark, they like attach themselves to the shark. What happens is that when obviously a shark makes a kill, these little fishies go and clean up their teeth and clean up their mouths and whatever it is. And so the shark's not going to eat that particular fish because the shark is obviously getting a little bit of a bath there. And then the little fishy, I can't remember the name, right, of that fish is busy having a good meal, right? So symbiotic, both are getting something out of it. It can often feel like sales and programming are working in opposite to one another, but that's because the sales and programming team have very different objectives, as I've just said. Right, at the end of the day, they've got their own jobs to do, and the jobs themselves are very different. Right. Okay. So the immediate objective for the sales team is to reach their sales targets that are set by the sales manager and also the station manager, the CFO, and the COO, right, the chief operations officer, right, and those things are obviously related. I mean, that's one of those kind of, again, those ripple down effects, that are put um, into execution or whatever it may be, right? Okay, so you will say to a sales team, you need to reach X point whatever billion by the end of the year, which is normally something that's not I wouldn't say billion. That's a bit much. I don't know if a lot of stations make billions. I haven't spoken to sales. Some things like a high level sales executive manager, ask them, but I'm quite sure that it's a good couple of 100 million. I know that the privatized companies, Prime Media and Kakiso, do hit the billion, like a billion mark now and again. And anyway, but the money goes fast. Remember where the money is spent. That station takes is there's a lot of money that is spent every single day on keeping that station afloat, and things cost a lot of cash. So you might think that's a lot of money, but there's a lot of people to get paid. There's again a lot of products, whatever it is they've got to buy. Think of the toilet paper, think of the water that they're spending, the electricity that they're spending, the generators that they're spending on that's the paper, the stationery, again, and whatever, let's say, all the equipment that they have, right, and are continuously paying for upkeep, for maintenance. Their money goes actually quite quickly. Just like I say, think about if maybe there's a couple of hundred people working for a particular station. So we're talking commercial wise, which they could be like, it's like I say, like Prime Media or Kahiso specifically, because they have sister brands that collate underneath them. 4 or 5 stations, whatever it may be. We do look at maybe 1,000 people, maybe 1,000 or more, right? But they also have other factions, like for example, Prime Media will have Ster-Kinekor, they will have Prime Media Outdoors. Um, they will have other segments. Point is that there are, let's say, every one of those people need to get paid. A lot of people get a lot of money in that particular group, make a lot of money per month as well. And if you just have to add just the salaries all up together, you would understand why the sales team have to hit high targets every month, year, day, week, etc. Okay, of course, the sales team cares about the quality of the product, but making that product the best is not their direct job. Their job is to bring in money, and the programming team is supposed to then conceptualize, obviously put together and produce and execute it to great quality in accordance to the basically the directive of the sales team, right? So they're directly responsible for the quality of the product, the station. That is their core job. That's the programming department. Okay, sales and programming teams are also differently compensated, right? I mean, the thing is, if you're so you will go to a commercial station, you'll see the people that drive the most expensive cars are the salespeople, right? Because if you sell, let's say you take one, let's say I normally say the top 40 because the top 40 has to have ideally what a client will do is they'll sign, let's say, a 6 month to a 1 year contract, right? Of sponsoring the top 40, right? Top 44 hours weekly, 52 weeks, right? We're talking a good couple of million, four, five, six, seven, I don't know, whatever it is, right? That this client will then pay, right? They also get obviously advertising in the week, they get the digital part, whatever it is, the whole pay, they get everything, right? Okay. That salesperson will get a percentage. Obviously, they'll get commission, right? From a couple of million that is sold. Hence why they will be they'll be the ones that are earning a whole lot more than anyone else. They get their basics, obviously, like whatever it may be, and also the like at a commercial station, they won't keep you if you're not performing at a high level, right? Anyway, so they are rewarded for making biggest sales, reaching their targets, and selling the types of airtime that deliver more money for a time unit for the station, right? So they focus on the next sale and are playing a numbers game. That is what. So these type of people, a salesperson is very driven, but not to say that others are not. They're driven in a very high capacity mode, very high energy. Must be very like overly confident because you can't sell something if you don't believe that you are going in there to actually get something. Very manipulative, right? Very convincing, charismatic. Again, must know like a lot about how everything works. Again, how different businesses work, how profit works, whatever it is. And again, how to be smart about creating revenue and income, etc. Right? How to work with money uh, is one thing, but how to make money is a different story, right? And they've got to do that or know that so that they can convince the client how they're gonna make more money, right? All right, no, very creative, just like the rest of us. I'm saying in the station, right? So because they will say, okay, look, I see an idea here, I see an opportunity, and you need to see it too, and this is why, right? So they're looking into days, weeks, and months because that is how their sales targets are set and how they are compensated. We look at the programming team. Programming teams are paid by the hour or by the show. So if you're looking at an hourly rate or a show rate, you are contracted, right? And when I say you're a contractor, contractors obviously paid per and et cetera, right? What is the final contract? And then we have the permanent, quote unquote, contracted on air staff that will receive a salary, right? So it's agreed upon as well, right? Anyway, but so these are the on air stuff, on air people, our producers, our presenters, right? So this allows them to focus on making the best content possible. The success is measured in terms of audience numbers, improving definitely their audience participation, audience presence, like followers, subscribers, etc. And obviously the RAMs need to go up in that show. A successful radio station is always one that has a good working relationship between sales and programming. And clients are also often listeners, so they're going to become fans of the particular show, that particular person, that host, that team, whatever it is, and they're going to say, "Oh, I really want to. I don't care what I need to spend, but I really want to work with this particular show as well." So clients are important to both programming and sales teams because they are both listeners and they are clients, right? The credibility is really, I mean, it's everything, right? So credibility is based obviously your performance, your trust, just the quality of your work. Some of the most effective spots and ad are ad-libbed or live copy because there's room for fun, spontaneity, and personalization. So making it obviously making it your own. So, and that's not to say that that one rule rules it all. Please, like I mean, when you're given, let's say, a live promo, that you need to go on air and then make your own spin on something, but make sure that you are mentioning certain aspects or rotating certain aspects of that particular promotion that you are currently selling to the listener. Your personality really has to like sell it, right? But you also need to know that you need to stick to the facts. Don't oversell and over sensationalize. Oh, this, that, unless it really is ooh and and this and that, right? Make sure that you don't ever embellish the truth, right? Okay. And that's why I'm saying credibility is paramount at the end of the day. Never give wrong information as well. Get your facts correctly. Understand that you need to be able to know that kind of spot, that kind of that brand, that promo inside out. When you are obviously running an activation, so we're going to go on, go and have a competition, whatever it may be. Like that's when you go and you make that come alive. That kind of you really understand the product. You understand it. Listen, you understand like your talent, your personality, and your buy-in, and also just like showcasing, like a little bit of a spotlight, all right? And it really is what's going to like make a client super happy, right? And also the listener is very happy as well because it's been a fun experience. They get something out of it as well. The presenter will be given a script, fact sheet, and bulletin points, right? From which they will highlight the best about the product or service being advertised, and you, as I said, have to rotate those highlights, quote unquote, right? Because there's so many things that you can mention within, let's say, an ad-libbed live promo, and then you would have to mention them obviously chronologically if needed, and then making sure that you do mention the tagline, the client, like closing dates, entry mechanisms, things like that, right? Okay, but the rest you can go balls to the wall, which is great. It's nice, it's fun, and obviously because you love your job, you're going to do it well. The advertiser believes that it's the talent's personality that is selling their product. They do. That's why they want to sell on a particular show. Yeah. Yes, it might happen that they do buy, which is great. It's also great sell as well. They decide to do an activation throughout the day. Once, let's say, once per show on the daytime shows, breakfast, lunch, brunch, and drive. Perhaps sometimes the nighttime breakfast, and that's because they trust the product, they trust the station, they trust again, um, and they know that all those presenters are competent. They're not going to pay more or less just because it does appear in a particular personality show, right? Okay, Brian, the sales call. So let's go. This is always a daunting thing, right? Okay, the sales call. Bryson's Broadcasting International's sales principles include the following. How do we now make that sales call, right? So, some things to keep in mind: people don't buy radio advertising, they buy into what it will do for them, right? So they don't care about the actual, they don't care about the semantics of it. They really need to know what it is. Sorry, there's a bunch of Hedidas. I live in a complex called Hedida. You should know this anyway. I'm saying you should expect a bunch of Hedidas in the background. Okay, anyway, all right. So genuinely they want to see return on investment. They want to know what it's going to do for them, and we got to guarantee this as a salesperson, sales executive, sales yeah, I said salesperson, right? Yeah. So we need to guarantee that return on investment in some way or another. So the better that we can construct an idea to run as an activation and make sure that we get more clicks or more, like I said, subscribers for them, more purchases from what they want to sell, whatever it is, or more feet in their door. Like that we have to be able to guarantee a very realistic return on investment. So we're obviously going to have a certain portion of that. I think normally it depends. It really depends. I mean, I'm looking at it from a business perspective, like return on investment when you're planning for the effects, the ripple effects or the after effects of a project being implemented. You would look at quite a low return on investment because it's slow and like you will only see the effect over a period of time. So let's say 3 to 6 to 12 months, even you would go and estimate the return on investment, right? But here we can actually start looking at some things that are immediate. Okay. So for example, like if we can understand that more followers, first of all, let's say followers and likes, okay, of their particular social media, different accounts, right? How is that going to assure that those particular followers that they will get and slash subscribers or slash views as slash whatever is going to actually turn into money? So we have to think about, let's say, like make a purchase, you know, like send us the receipt number or whatever it is. That doesn't actually make sense. I'm saying on social media, but if you buy a purchase through our website, and you can click on the website link maybe through social media, like we're getting first obviously a follower, we're going to obviously get that transgressive nature of going from one place to another, make a purchase with, let's say, this particular voucher that's going to be given to you. They'll give you a voucher code or whatever it is, right? Okay. I don't want to complicate it here, but the point is that we can keep track of them as well. But we will anyway. I mean, when we are analyzing, like doing data analysis and analytics via, for example, search the tools like Google Analytics, we'll be able to see where they came from. So we know that these particular clients or whatever it is, or these particular transactions were, they were led, or they came through. Basically, they were directed from this particular post or whatever it is, right? So we can keep track of them anyway. It doesn't matter, right? I want to be able to make sure that there is something that actually happened, right? And then they could win for a purchase that's anything. I mean, you can purchase anything that's under $200. For example, if I can get like 1,000 people to buy something that's $200, we're talking 200,000 rand already. Obviously, minus the cost of the sale itself. I'm saying the cost of the product of the sale. That's a good amount of money. That's a return on investment, right? So we've got to, and we get people that we can actually send communication with whatever it is. You get what I'm saying to you, right? You'll be kind of clever as to how it is that you will convince them. I am going to give you return on investment, ROI. People buy emotionally and they justify it with logic. We need to access the client's world. So understand where they are, what they need, what they are desperate for, and they can't afford. Maybe what time of year it is, so it calls for a certain something. Right. Okay. So it's not what you say, it's what you ask. Okay. The Pareto principle. So become one of the top 20. 80% of the business is brought in by 20% of the sales force. I said there earlier about on average 70%. Anyway, so in radio, this can be seen as the P1 listeners, right? So the P1 listener, what is a P1 listener? Remember, it's a listener that only listens to that station. They don't listen to any other station. They don't feel the need to. So you have their full attention, their full loyalty, their full submission, right? Okay. All right. Sales is a process. Understand that the process, work the process, and then build revenue from the process is what you're building for in terms of like a result. You want revenue. So understanding the process, one for example, like Pat Bryson ranks the ways that you can contact prospective clients as following. You can cold call, like I said to you, a lead is basically it's a hot lead, right? Cold calling is a cold lead, right? A referral, also forming and an introduction, are also really great ways. Like if I'm introduced by a a a middleman, right? A middleman, a woman, right? Let's be very uh, uh, um, PG about it, PC about it, right? Okay, anyway, my point is that referrals or leads are definitely under the hot leads. Cold calling is definitely under a cold lead. Right. Okay. Introductions. All right. So this is again something that we've already discussed. I don't want to repeat myself and bore you even further. Okay, so how it works: three phases to win in sales. Phase one: the top 20% organize their day, so that includes time for talking with new prospects. Okay, so again, that kind of like, how am I going to get the next person? I want to be able to have a conversation. So we really want to push for, like, yes, cold calling as well is one way to say, please, hi, my name is this. I'm at this station. I work here and here and here. I have definitely some ideas that I would like to present to this particular, your particular brand company, whatever it may be. Who is the person, first of all, that would be the correct, I'm saying the correct communication path, right? So you want to be respectful as well. You don't want to just be like, because people, and please think about how telesales irritate you, right? So you got to explain yourself really well, introduce yourself, and be courteous at the same time, right? Anyway, then they make discovery calls to gather information from these prospects, just literally what I did. Okay, and they present solutions and ask for money. The first 5 minutes are the most important. You can never get a second chance to make a first impression. That's in life, right? You think that first impressions don't last and they don't mean anything because you might, yeah, no, it's really not. You know that, right? Yeah, establishing trust with prospects starts the minute they first see you. So dress well, present yourself well. Don't be drunk, or don't be like don't be yourself. I'm saying that that could be because you don't know what type of people they are into, right? So be a professional, have personality, have charisma. Know that they must see that you are interested, that you want their money. They know that what you want their money, but you got to be still like you're in love with him, basically, right? This means doing your research, knowing what you're talking about, have questions to answers that you have maybe you've forecast, right? You predicted that you'll have an answer for possibly any question that might come up. Okay. If not, make sure that you go with somebody, like for example, let's say a program manager that can answer some of the programming aspects that you would maybe perhaps not have full knowledge on as a salesperson, right? Okay, so the top 20% learn to master the art of moving prospects through level one questions to level two questions to level three questions. And it's at level three that the top 20% will find the larger long term money, right? We want actually someone to keep coming back and giving us more and more and more money. Level one, what's the biggest challenge facing your business today? Right? That's really like coming in and saying and giving them solutions already. So telling them that I fully understand where you currently are at. I love this. I love that you're busy doing that right now. What would be a great thing and where I want to um, possibly possibly have this conversation, or I would love to have this conversation, is around how you are currently facing your, I don't know, like you understand, like your release of this to a different to a younger target market, maybe. Okay, so what effect has this problem had on your business? Right, every problem could be a problem. Maybe they're losing money, maybe they're losing any awareness, whatever it is, or losing to competition. But also, there can also be proactive solutions, right? So let's say the business is running well. You can come up with a proactive solution. So think ahead for them with something good, great, and obviously productive and obviously proficient, making some money there, bringing in some revenue. Okay, how can you bring this product, service, company, brand, doesn't matter, to the next level, to another level, right? That they might not have thought of just yet. Okay. What effect has this business problem had on on you personally, right? So internally in the business, let's try and solve those problems as well. It's not about accessing the world of the clients and living there, right? The top sellers create solutions to appeal to the emotions of their clients. Okay, right. So let's look at broadcast executive David Barenfeld, and what he offers the following pointers as guidance for you. So you check that out. I do run this. There we go. There's 11 of them. So create promotional alliances, create media partnerships, think brand names, Take a good look at your listener, understand your advertiser's needs. Part one, selling. Part two, selling. Part three of Let the Air Talent Solve for You. Part nine, sorry, not part nine, number nine. Hire a sales staff that lives the lifestyle of the format, right? So understands this demographic, understands where they live, where they work, where they spend their money, who's important in their lives, what's important in their lives, right? Create as many premium avails as possible, right? So in other words, some good packages, premium packages, and live and have fun, right? Because obviously you want to bring them more money and then have fun while you're doing it because you should be passionate about the work that you actually do. So to excel at sales, just as on the programming side, it helps to be a better and a great communicator, right? Most people who gravitate towards sales are genuinely social individuals. They love whining, quote, and dining, which is actually part of the budget that your station has, right? The money that comes in needs to also come out to make money. What does it make money? Spend money. You have to spend money. Developing relationships is an important part of prospecting and growing sales contacts. So something that you might even see in I'm saying in the future, right? So it could be something that could be a sale again, like maybe 3 months from now, 6 months from now, in a year's time. It doesn't matter if you have some kind of like soft promise between you and this customer. I've had it plenty of times where radio stations have said, I don't have the money right now, so for example, this is not part of our budget plan for this particular, let's say, a period of the fiscal year, but we are interested and we will definitely want this, let's say, next year at this time. And I say to them, that's great because I know that's money that's banked. I might not have it now. I definitely don't have it now, but I will then make a note. I put in my calendar. I'll obviously have the notes that I've made in terms of communication. Make sure that obviously I print, I also print and label those particular emails, WhatsApps, whatever it is, and I will go and I'll bank it within a particular. I will go and store that in let's say a folder, whatever system. Let's say obviously at a station it's a different system. There's actual systems that are being used. Myself, I'll put it into a folder that's marked off at that time of year for clients that I'm going to, let's say, approach, and then I'll obviously bring revenue. Think ahead. Obviously, that is a thing of sales. Also thinking ahead, knowing that you have or they have various options. Let me quickly zoom. I just want to zoom into this. Okay. So just continuing, I'm just going to continue with some of these over here. Pamela and Toes, sales tips: understand your client's question and listen to the prospects and uncover and meet their true needs, right? It is okay to ask a bunch of questions because they want to answer. If you're in that stage already, right? Okay, where you need to understand that the client and they're helping you understand it. I'm saying understand them and their product. Like the more questions you ask, more information you can turn into money, right? Qualify the buyer. Always get to the top decision maker, right? Don't waste time with people who are not in the position to actually use any kind of funds, right? A secretary, like an assistant, whatever it may be, right? You need to get to the person that actually decides on the budget or runs the budget or holds the budget or manages the budget, right? Listen with the intent to understand. Only when you understand can you respond. Listening is more important than talking. So, as I just mentioned before, because you keep getting a lot more information, you can get a lot more angles and avenues where you can kind of creep in there and be like, cool, like this is great opportunities, yeah. Understand the power of questioning, as mentioned before, right? You can qualify the buyer, establish rapport, eliminate competition, build credibility, identify needs, find hot buttons, right? So again, those kind of like, ooh, that's a trigger. That's great. That's great. I can definitely. I'm gonna push there because I know I'm gonna get a great, a profitable response from there. Keep profitable. So get personal information, a close sale, or by asking questions. So definitely be interested and invested, right? Sell benefits, not features. Clients care only about what's in it for them, obviously, right? They don't care about the fanciness of this and this. It's what that can turn into as a return on investment, right? Use the power of testimonials. So this person and that person and this person, like I said, a trusted co-client, whatever it may be, right? Someone that they know will take the fear out of that buying, right? Because they can see it's a tried and tested product, tried and tested. Learn to recognize buying signals. Prospects will tell you when they're ready to buy, so you must pay attention. Remember that the best buying signal is how much does it cost? And then you know, ooh, here we go, let's go, right? Or ask them. Like I find that if I ask them, what is your budget? If they are interested, they show that I am interested. What does it cost? My thing will be like, first of all, what is your budget that you can actually work with? Because you might undersell, don't you don't want to undersell, and then they definitely don't want to overpay, right? Okay, all right, so let's go to some more. I just want to go through the list here. Know the difference between a stall and an objection. So I want to think it over. Isn't an objection. It don't waste time treating it like one. So this prospect has an unanswered question. Find out what the prospect wants and then answer it. You understand? So I want to think it over. What can I send you? What can I assist with to while you're thinking which part of this are you thinking over? Do I need to go and find you some like competitive analysis, whatever it may be? Which aspects can I do, like without being completely kind of like I say, a creepy, slimy, whatever it is, salesperson, like a car salesperson, second hand, no, just the car salesperson are always like slimy. Anyway, don't be that person. That shows a little bit of desperation and then like and pushiness, right? People can't stand it. Don't be pushy. It's my money, right? Uncover the real objection. Prospects usually won't tell you their objections at first. Due to the fear of making a decision, they often give false objections at first to stop you from selling it to them. Ask questions to find the real problem, as I just mentioned. Can I do this? Can I do that? Is it about this? Is it about this? Can I, while you have the conversation, ask them immediately. Anticipate objections. As I said, pre-anticipate with by pro research, right? Proactive research, so that you can give them 10 answers to one question, right? If you don't make a sale, make a firm appointment to return. I'd like to, I'd like again, so make some form of sale each time that you call. Um, Definitely, can I get back to you? Can I get back to you on Wednesday? Can I get back to you at 5 o'clock today? Or can I call back? Can we have a quick, MS Teams or Zoom meeting, whatever it is, a little virtual call on WhatsApp, or it doesn't really matter, right? Never argue with a prospect. If you win the argument, you still lose the sale, right? So rather be like, instead of like proving them wrong, you want to prove yourself right through proving them right. Right. Okay. Like rather convince them of other things. Be like answer them with solutions. Right. Instead of, so if they attack you, then like divert their attention of that attack to other advantages, positives, whatever it may be, right? And again, turning that attention back onto this client. Redefine rejection. So you're not being rejected, your offer is. It's true. I mean, we are. And yeah, I mean, I can understand that, right? Not easy to always accept. You're going to have very bad sales, weeks, months, days, whatever it may be. You may lose the opportunity of a big client, whatever it is. It's just, it's just business, unfortunately. Treat each client as though he or she is the most important. Satisfy client complaints in less than 24 hours, right? So personalize that interaction, experience. Understand that hard work makes luck. So years of hard work went into making successful people, quote unquote, lucky. Right, let's just do the last ones over here. Use the power of persistence, take no as a challenge, and then go and see. So learn from children, like who are constantly finding new ways to get a parent to buy them their toy, right? Do you understand, right? Gonna be that kid. Um, anyway, have a sales call scheduled immediately after your sales meeting. And like I say, can I call you at learn the ABCs of sales? Ready, go to read, go to seminars, participate in webinars, listen to whatever it may be, streams, audios, audio books, CDs, whatever it may be, right? And make sure that you learn and grow the entire time. Okay. Because the lesson is quite long, as you can see, right? I'm going to do it in two. Well, just give me a second, actually, before I make the decision of deciding to do it in two parts. Okay, no, I made the decision at this point. I'm just going to do this in two parts, right? So there'll be a part one of lesson 73, and there'll be a part two. I'm just going to stop it there. We'll return at slide 15 in a moment.